Triton is not your typical moon. In fact, calling it a moon almost feels like an insult. It's like referring to a Ferrari as a car. It's technically true, but there's so much more going on under the hood. With its backward orbit, icy surface, and potential for life lurking beneath the surface, Triton is one of the most fascinating objects in our solar system. So, how did I end up on this icy chunk of Neptune's moon? Well, let's rewind a little. Grab your space helmets because we're about to embark on a journey to one of the coldest, strangest places in the cosmos. Neptune's Outlaw moon. First, let's talk about where Triton lives. This isn't just any old moon hanging out in the outer reaches of the solar system. Triton is Neptune's largest moon, and if you want to understand how huge it is, think of it as a mini-planet. It's roughly 2,700 kilometers, 1,680 miles in diameter, which is larger than dwarf planets like Pluto. Though it's a bit smaller than our moon, Triton is still mighty. It's the celestial equivalent of that kid who shows up at the playground and immediately gets everyone's attention. But let's get into the really weird stuff. Triton doesn't orbit Neptune like most moons. Oh no, it orbits backward. That's right, it's a rebellious moon that goes against the grain. Most moons orbit in the same direction as their planet's rotation, but Triton decided it didn't want to follow the rules. This retrograde orbit is so strange that scientists believe it wasn't originally Neptune's moon. Instead, Triton was likely a rogue body from the Kuiper Belt that was captured by Neptune's gravity billions of years ago. But here's the kicker. This backward orbit caused a whole lot of chaos. When Triton was captured, it slammed into Neptune's other moons, causing violent collisions that either obliterated many of them or sent them careening into space. It's like Triton showed up at the moon party and immediately knocked over the punch bowl and broke all the furniture. So yeah, Triton isn't just another moon, it's a moon killer. Cryovolcanoes. Ice volcanoes with a twist. Okay, so this is where things get even cooler, and we mean that literally. Triton is home to some truly bizarre volcanic activity, but don't expect regular lava flows. No, Triton's volcanoes are cryovolcanoes, meaning they erupt slushy, icy material instead of molten rock. It's like the volcanoes in your wildest dreams, or maybe nightmares. These cryovolcanoes shoot plumes of ice and vapor 8 kilometers, 5 miles, into Triton's thin atmosphere. You've got to admit, that's pretty impressive for a place that's colder than your ex's heart. But here's the best part. These eruptions could be a sign of something truly remarkable hidden beneath the surface. Some scientists think that underneath all that ice lies an ocean, and where there's an ocean, there could be life. Imagine that for a second. Life on a moon that's colder than your freezer. It sounds crazy, right? But life can thrive in some pretty extreme places on Earth, like deep-sea vents where conditions are similar to what we think might be found on Triton. If there is indeed an ocean beneath the ice, it could be warm enough to support microbial life. And who knows, if that life has had billions of years to evolve, maybe we're talking about something more complex. The search for life and how not to die on Triton. Now, I've got to level with you. If you're planning on heading to Triton anytime soon, you might want to read this next part carefully. First of all, Triton is freezing. We're talking temperatures as low as minus 235 degrees Celsius, or minus 391 degrees Fahrenheit. That's colder than a penguin's day out in Antarctica. If you step outside without a suit, your skin would freeze solid in a matter of seconds. In fact, the surface of Triton is so cold that your breath and sweat would boil off in the vacuum-like atmosphere. Yeah, you heard that right. Boil in freezing temperatures, as that's how low the atmospheric pressure is. You'd be better off sticking to your spacesuit. The thing is, Triton's atmosphere is incredibly thin, 70,000 times thinner than Earth's. It's mostly nitrogen, with a hint of methane and carbon monoxide. Not exactly the kind of mix you want to breathe in. In fact, if you were dumb enough to remove your helmet, you wouldn't just suffocate. You'd experience something called explosive decompression. That means your lungs would rupture and you'd pass out in under 15 seconds. Not exactly the ideal vacation spot, right? But here's the kicker. Triton's atmosphere is so thin that if you fell, say, into one of those massive ice cracks, there's no way to stop yourself. Triton has only 8% of Earth's gravity, so if you miscalculate a jump, you could float away into the icy abyss with no hope of return. So, before you try any space parkour, make sure your boots have spikes, because that surface is not forgiving. An ocean beneath the ice? Now, back to the possibility of life. The idea that Triton might have an ocean beneath all that ice is based on some intriguing evidence. For one, scientists think that Triton has a dense metallic core. The heat generated by the core could prevent water beneath the ice from freezing completely, allowing it to stay liquid. This opens up the possibility that the ocean might contain the right chemicals for life to thrive. Just think about it. An ocean right beneath Triton's frozen surface, keeping all those essential ingredients like carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen in place, waiting for life to take hold. It's the kind of setup you'd expect to find in a science fiction novel, but it's not far-fetched at all. In fact, it's exactly what scientists are hoping to find when they get a better look at the moon with more advanced technology. Triton and Pluto? Cosmic twins? You might be wondering, what does Pluto have to do with all of this? Well, it turns out that Triton and Pluto share a lot of similarities. In fact, some scientists believe that the two might have the same origin story. Both Triton and Pluto have similar mass, density, and surface activity. Pluto's icy surface, like Triton's, is covered with massive nitrogen glaciers, and both moons might have an internal ocean. It's even possible that the two were once part of the same body before being separated by cosmic events. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is Pluto really just a big cousin to Triton? Well, we don't have the answers just yet, but the similarities are certainly intriguing. And who knows? Maybe Triton and Pluto are like cosmic best friends hanging out in the cold, dark corner of the solar system, just waiting for their time to shine. The dangers of exploring Triton. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Triton is an incredible moon, but it's not exactly a place you'd want to vacation. Unless, of course, you're into freezing temperatures, explosive decompression, and the thrill of possibly discovering extraterrestrial life. Triton's retrograde orbit, icy surface, and potential for life make it one of the most fascinating objects in the solar system. But before you start packing your bags, remember that getting there takes time, and lots of it. With Neptune and Triton being 4.5 billion kilometers, 2.8 billion miles, away from the Sun, you'd need to buckle up for a long ride, which is why getting to Triton is no small feat. Not to mention, you're going to need a pretty sweet spacesuit, some serious equipment, and a solid strategy for avoiding deadly plumes of cryomagma. But if you're ready to embrace the cold and tackle this frozen world head-on, who knows what you might find? Will Triton's icy surface hold the key to life beyond Earth? Will we one day uncover alien life beneath its frozen crust? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this distant moon so captivating. Just don't forget your helmet and make sure you've got some extra fuel, because 5 seconds on Triton is a lot harder than it sounds. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Triton and its icy mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more out-of-this-world content and stay tuned for more cosmic adventures. Got any wild theories about life on Triton? Drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and keep your curiosity alive.